everyone, and welcome to this quarter's Affinity webinar with Cottony Consulting and Roofers Coffee Shop. This is all about getting together to talk about what marketing is out there with an expert like John Kenny and Karen Edwards and kind of myself, Heidi Ellsworth. So welcome to this quarter, and we are so excited to talk about social media. Let's start with some introductions. So John, can you introduce yourself first?
Yeah, so first of all, happy to be here, and everyone out there, happy holidays coming up at the end of the year. My name is John Kenny. I am currently CEO of Cottony Consulting Group. Spent over 45 years as a contractor. Social media is so important to the contracting industry, and that's why we're here today to talk about it.
Really great. Karen.
Hi, everyone. My name's Karen Edwards. I am COO with the Coffee Shops, and I also have my own business, Casimir Group, and I work as the executive director for RT3, the roofing technology think tank. And I also work with some contractors and manufacturers reps and folks across the country helping out with things like social media, PR, and whatnot.
Excellent. And I'm Heidi Ellsworth. I am the president of the coffee shops, or Roofers Coffee Shop, Metal Coffee Shop, and Coatings Coffee Shop. I also have HJE Consulting, do work with the Roofing Alliance, and have been in the industry for a long time. So we are excited to share some of our thoughts. And I say, let's get started. So first of all, John and Karen, we kind of want to talk about the social media platforms to consider, because there really are a lot more than just the basics. And these are things that I think as we look at roofing companies, that they kind of need to be thinking about what fits, what doesn't fit. So Karen, let's start with you. Maybe you can just give us a quick overview of these platforms.
Sure. So the first three bullets there, I always think of as the big three, kind of the OGs, the original gangsters, right? Facebook's been around a long time. And so is LinkedIn. And, they started similar, close together, probably 20 some years ago, and have grown and changed in different ways. Twitter, I have a hard time calling it X. Twitter's always been great for keeping up with things that are happening kind of in real time. People using their hashtags and chatting and talking, where Facebook and LinkedIn are much more geared toward, if I've got a few minutes downtime, maybe I'm sitting in a waiting room and I'm going to open my phone and check out what's happening on those social platforms. They're also geared to a little bit toward different audiences, and we'll dive into that a little bit deeper. And then you've got your new-ish up and comers, Instagram, owned by Facebook now, because Facebook saw the writing on the wall and said, hey, all these young people are flocking to these new platforms, and we need to be part of that. And then TikTok, of course, hopefully everyone has heard of that. It was in the news recently, in the last few years, and has gotten some attention to it and has a lot of people using it. And then YouTube, or good old YouTube. You can find great things on YouTube. You need to know how to do something. There's probably a YouTube video out there to tell you about it. So that's just a real high overview of what we consider, or I consider at least, to be the main platforms. There's some smaller ones out there that, you might want to be aware of and keep an eye on, but these are the big ones.
Big ones. I know. And I agree. I mean, if you want to know how to do something, that's YouTube. And that's really kind of been, I don't know if they really planned that to be how it was going to be used all the time up front, but it seems to have turned into that. I mean, there's everything on there, of course, but how to is really important. John, which of these platforms are you using?
I actually use all of them now. I just started experimenting with TikTok recently. But I've always had a presence on Facebook, LinkedIn, of course, Twitter, been probably on Twitter since Twitter's been around. Instagram, using it now. I think that Instagram is starting to come into its own, a little bit different than some of the others. I know we're going to touch more on that in a minute. And then YouTube, I think you hit it. I think for instructional videos, how-tos, explaining about what you do, this is the place to go to.
Yeah, it really is. And at the coffee shops, we're on all these platforms. We are really try to figure out the audience for each of these platforms are all different. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit more. And in fact, one of the things we really wanted to talk about was there's a difference between residential and commercial, what you should be using and how that kind of goes through. So Karen, why don't we start with you again, just kind of talking about this residential side and what contractors should be thinking about.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely the audience varies. Facebook, if you are selling to homeowners, marketing to homeowners, sharing information for homeowners, Facebook and Instagram are where you're going to find most of your folks. Facebook is getting older, right? Those of us in our later years who have kids that are in their 20s, they only have that Facebook page to make their parents happy, and they post a picture every now and then so that they know we're still alive, right? Still out there. But these are the youth that are going to be the next generation of home buyers, right? As you know, we're older, we're retiring, we're downsizing, we're selling our homes, maybe, you know, because we don't want the maintenance and stuff. The folks that are buying these homes are the younger generation, and you're going to find them on Instagram. So it's really a combination of those two to reach the homeowners. Now, we're going to talk about paid and advertising stuff because Facebook, or Meta, I should say, is the company, owns Facebook and Instagram. You can do a lot of combined posting, boosting, and targeting across both platforms. So it doesn't have to be scary or difficult. And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more. TikTok, very much the younger generation, even more so than those on Instagram. The popularity of TikTok, it's just incredible. You know, I don't always understand it, but you put a fun, catchy video out there and you can capture a lot of attention and draw a lot of attention to yourself. So it's definitely something to be on and to be aware of. And then as well as YouTube, you know, those explainer videos, people want to know, they're doing their research ahead of time before they even talk to you, homeowners especially. So they're going to be looking on YouTube. If you have videos out there about, here's what, maybe it's a time lapse of a roof installation. They want to see what that looks like. What's
Yeah.
it look like when the materials come? What is it? You know, so be thinking about those kinds of things on these platforms to reach the residential and homeowner audience.
And I will say, in our recent trends report, Facebook and LinkedIn were the top two, and Facebook
Yeah.
was number one still in the industry. So even though it's changing, it is really important, like we're talking about, looking at both of these. And I will say, even on TikTok, even though it is more of a younger that we're hearing about, I have many friends who are older who are watching TikTok videos all the time. They do a lot on TikTok. So
It sucks you in.
it sucks you in. I
Yeah.
know. And John, what are you, I mean, when you look at this with your residential clients and the customers out there, what are you seeing?
I think on Facebook, it's still got a lot of value to it. As you said, I think people like to see companies that share milestones, events, and knowledge on there. I think one of the most unutilized from a contractor standpoint is setting up a private group for your
Oh,
clients. Okay.
yeah.
Even if you say you've done a roof in that, but have it there so they can come on with questions, and have a use it kind of like a bulletin board type of deal where you may be putting out some newer information in the industry, but have it so somebody communicate. They're not using it for that as much as I think. That's, I think, the bigger value on Facebook that's being missed.
Okay,
By
I think that's the
contractors.
nugget of this whole webinar, John. I
Yes,
hadn't even
John.
thought about that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's I think it's a good idea, and I've been recommending that. We'll see if some people try it. Instagram, I find Instagram so real quick, Instagram is the Facebook of Europe. The Europeans don't use Facebook the way we do, but more and more Americans are going on to Instagram for real. They like to watch the reels on Instagram,
Mhm.
and it is definitely becoming a greater influence if you're for selling. I think you're seeing that on there in that. TikTok, I think I hear all the time contractors tell me they can't get people interested to come into the industry and hire. this is where you want to put your recruitment stuff on. You
Yeah.
want to reach somebody under the age of 30 and 25, this is it. And if you spend enough time to put some really good short videos together that show why your company is the place for them to be and why our
Mhm.
industry is the place for them to be, you're hitting a home run if you get that out on TikTok. I don't think that's being utilized enough. People are showing their projects, but you want to reach your next workforce. And YouTube, I think that's where you become a leader in
Mhm.
putting out what you do, how you do it, and that's kind of like a give back. And also have your short videos on there, highlight your projects. If you're a contractor, that's where you can do a lot of things or what you do different than somebody else. You could put that information out in the video without giving away, your trade secrets or your, internal
Mhm.
key
Yeah.
things that you don't want out to the public. I think you
Well,
should use it.
and I think, drone footage, so many contractors have drone footage. YouTube is
Yeah.
great for that, and TikTok, because it's just the drone footage is so cool. One thing Kieran, you said this earlier, and I just want to kind of follow up on this is on YouTube, educating your consumers, your customers. And I would really recommend, because a lot of times customers will say, well, why do I need ventilation? Well, if you
Mhm.
have just a short YouTube video on the importance of ventilation and why they won't get mold in their attic or worse, that's something that you can then send a link to them about. You can talk about. So it doesn't have to be the whole project, although that's very cool, time lapse. But think about the different segments too. What's the difference of underlayments? Why should they care? Right? Those kind of things I think really help in sales.
Absolutely. And you position yourself as that subject matter expert. If you're in a region, like I look at John, Florida, they've got some really tough codes, and here's why. Explain
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or insurance. Talking about
Oh
the
boy.
insurance process,
Yep.
right? Which is like a nightmare in
Absolutely.
Florida. Great YouTube video. Okay, let's along that same lines, let's talk about commercial, because it's different. And you can see here we've listed it different. So John, I'm going to start with you. I mean, you have such a strong commercial background. Talk to us a little bit about that difference in what media, social media you're using if you're commercial.
So LinkedIn is my number one go-to, in what I'm doing now. And it also was as a contractor. And I love to see contractors that show off their workmanship, especially when they're doing something special. That you would be surprised how many people may not be commenting or liking your stuff. You want to so don't concentrate so much on that, even though you want to encourage that. But I can tell you, for example, if I go somewhere to a trade show, I'm still blown away by the amount of people that are reading what I put on there or following me that I don't realize it because they're not commenting, but a lot of people don't. This is very underused. And a couple key things with LinkedIn, if you are a LinkedIn user, you need to interact with other people that are that you like. You need to interact. The more you start interacting, the more you get to be shared around on LinkedIn. It's very important to do that. Reshare it. Now they got a nice one, which I like, which is kind of that reposting where you don't have to do a separate post. It ties the networks together. But if you see something that is really important to our industry, comment on it.
Yeah.
The only thing I will tell you on LinkedIn to be careful with, and I see some people make these mistakes, and I don't know how to put it any easier than this. Don't be stupid. What I mean is, it's not a great place to be over opinionated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You keep it generalized and stick to what you do. The only next thing I'll jump into real quick is commercial on Facebook. I think we talked about that in residential. The biggest mistake I see commercial contractors make on Facebook or commercial companies, manufacturers, vendors is promoting the sponsored selling, hard selling ads. I don't think they work very well. I think people get turned off. That ends up flooding people. So again, even in commercial, you want to still have a presence on Facebook because you need to have that presence because people at home have Facebook that work for corporations as well that you want commercial, but keep it again, informational, educational.
Yeah. Karen, let's talk a little bit about Twitter or X, because I do think it has a place in commercial, especially, I mean, it's so used in the government. And so if contractors are doing government work, there's a lot out there. What are your thoughts there?
Sure. I think, you need to use the right hashtags. It's really important on Twitter, not so much on the other platforms, but people that, if there's a topic that's really hot right now in building, whether that's codes, whether it's trends, whether it's solar, it could be any of these things, and you want to be part of that conversation, you can do a search on Twitter by a hashtag, like just
Yeah.
put in the hashtag and see who's talking about it. And then by using that same hashtag, you can contribute to that conversation, because that's how people are following stuff when they're on Twitter.
Yeah.
So identify those things that either you're an expert in, things that are important to you, or areas that you want to grow in, and see what the conversation is happening on Twitter. Twitter's more of that conversation type platform, and kind of immediate interaction. But that means that you have to pay attention to it. So
Yeah.
you need to make sure each day that you get out there and you check it and you see what's happening and you pay attention if someone ats you, which is mentioning you. Be sure to respond.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I will say too, don't let this totally intimidate you, because you can find people in your company who can help with this. And so if you are the owner and you're thinking, there's no way I have time to go out and do this every day. No, this is something you can spread out. You can talk to your team about and have them help you. And I can tell you that's exactly what I do. And it works good. And I want to kind of just also on the YouTube, just like residential, think about, and this is an interesting thing I learned a couple years ago, is that a number of the purchasing agents who are coming into, whether it is big property managements or if it's for big corporations, a lot of those purchasing agents are young, and they, trust me, did not go to school for roofing. So as they were sitting in their cubicle, they could very well be searching roofing, because they have a big meeting coming up and they're going to be talking about purchasing roofing. They have no idea. They're going to go to YouTube and watch videos. That's where they're going to find out more about how that works and where it is. So even though you think, oh, these, some of these C-suite property managements, they aren't going to care about YouTube. You have to think about all the young purchasing agents that are coming in too. And John, you're nodding.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you do go to. I mean, I laugh because I watch TV shows now, and some, especially like I don't want to say reality as far as reality crazy, but where people will be on there and they'll say, well, how did you learn how to repair a faucet? How did you learn how to flash a chimney? Oh, YouTube. That's where people today are used to going to. The big key, I think if contractors use YouTube and tie in very well to their other social platforms. In other words, the videos that you're going to share, either on Twitter or Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, put them on your YouTube channel and share them that way. Like my website, if you go to my videos or my estimating training or any of my training, they tie back in. You're going to go to my YouTube channel. When you click on it, they're embedded. But I will tell you, when I started doing that, I doubled my YouTube followers in 60 days.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
again, they want to subscribe because they want to see what you got. So you use them all together, like everybody's been saying, but that's a big key.
Yeah. And to that point, you need to ask people to subscribe too. Go ahead, Karen.
Right. And I just want to say, when if you're just getting started on your YouTube channel, there's probably a YouTube video out there that you should watch about organizing your YouTube channel, because you can make playlists and you can have them based on, topics. And so you just want to make sure it's not just a barrage of videos out there. Have some sort of organization to them.
Right.
And your descriptions are important as well, because that all will come up in a search. If you're searching for something on Google, oftentimes YouTube, because if you didn't know that Google does own YouTube, they will return results in YouTube videos. So make sure your description has the right words in it, and is words that people may be searching for based on that topic.
Exactly. SEO, and we say that all the time about Twitter too. It all plays together to do that. So, okay, we've kind of talked about the channels. Let's talk a little bit about the content, and how, really good social media is obviously from a personal side, it's about sharing your family, staying in touch with your friends, knowing what's going on. But from a business sense, it's not just about sales. It's about positioning your company as a brand, positioning your brand, positioning them as a thought leader, as someone who's going to be there and cares. And so what you post shouldn't be just salesy. It should be really about the culture of your business and the culture, your brand ambassadors, your employees out there. So, Karen, let's start, really, Roofers Coffee Shop posts a lot every
Mm.
day on all these channels. So how are you selecting that content and how are we all the articles? And because I have people come up to me all the time and say, you're so busy on LinkedIn. I'm like, yes, thank you, Karen. How, how do they do
So,
that?
it's funny. In fact, we did an entire Affinity webinar just on content.
Yes, we did.
So visit John's directory on our site, and you can pull that up and watch it. But yeah, it comes down to, I don't want to be sold to. I want to be educated and I want to learn. So when we're looking at what are we going to post? Well, who's our audience? That's number one. What kind of things do they want to hear? Well, we have a lot of roofing contractors that follow Roofers Coffee Shop. So if there's new products, they want to know about it. If there's a new technology, they want to know, is there an event, a training
Yes.
opportunity? Is there a video demo, product demos, installation, how-tos. So, and even third-party stuff too. If you as a roofing contractor are looking for things, go check out your manufacturers and whatnot. Their content is right there ready for you to hit that share button and share it on your social. Like, here's some great information from my shingle manufacturer about why this matters. And, it's kind of a prepackaged and done for you. So think about that as your customer and your audience out there is thinking about, I might need a new roof or I'm having a roofing problem. What are they looking for? They're looking for answers. So if you can provide that information and those answers, that really positions you as a helper. And you are an expert and they want help from the expert. So they're most likely going to call you.
Yeah, really true. And John, when we talk about how people are learning and what they're wanting to hear, I kind of go back to our read, listen, watch. They want to see it in so many different ways. And you do a great job of this with between your articles and then the videos and sharing other people's. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, people on a natural occurrence, either they're going to adapt by reading, that's their main form of learning, or they're going to watch it's video, or sometimes it's just short, like you're listening. You got to have
Yeah.
all. You have to have it because it depends on where you are, and that's what I like about when I do podcasts and different things. You can watch the full video of it, or you can listen to it in the audio. We do the like you said, the RLWs in that and the read, watch, listens. That's the perfect thing because you have it in different formats. One of the things that I'm definitely going to start doing this year is taking some of the past articles that I've written over the last years and giving a short video that goes along with the article where I'll give you the highlights that are in there. So maybe you don't have time to read the whole article, but I'll let you know what's in there and what's important. And then if you got to go deep dive, you can. I think that's important to get that information out to people. So use them all. They're all very valuable.
I love that, John. What a great idea. Being old content and kind of summarizing it to help people. We do that actually a lot on our site too.
Yep.
And I do want, as you're looking at this, I want to kind of hit back a little bit on that third party because think about, first of all, John's content. Go to Cotney Consulting, share that out to your customers. When we are looking at our site, Ask a Roofer, we have some amazing homeowner articles that helps to educate, and John writes some of them, Karen writes, we get them from everybody. But that is an article now that you can just summarize and say, hey, as a homeowner, you might want to think about this ventilation, check it out here. And you can even have a link on your site so they come to your site first and get that link. But there's a lot of different ways there. Don't think you have to create this all of yourself, but it's amazing the power of a phone and a video.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not, you don't have to have a big production crew. This is your social media team. In fact, I'm amazed what our social media team does. And that kind of leads us to employee involvement. So I'm going to start this one out just because I have had a huge life lesson in the last couple years of thinking more like a Gen Xer. And as we were starting to put a lot more social media content out there on channels like TikTok and Instagram, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why would anyone care about Tim packing up a trade show booth, right? And my awesome team came to me and said, you just have to get out of the way. And that is what I say to so much of the ownership out there. When you go to your employees and ask them to be involved, or hopefully ask them to take over your social media, you have to be open. You have to be open to doing it a different way, to messaging, as long as it stays on brand, and of course is, ethical and all of those great things. But you really need to be open, because you'll be amazed at how cool things can become without you. And so it really does work. And Karen, I love your smile and laugh. Talk a little bit about this with employee involvement. You've been the leader.
It's true. Just because I don't get TikTok or some weird trend that's happening with some sound, my team does, and they say, "Oh, this is going to be great." And I look at it and I go, "Huh," and then it gets, I don't know, 5,000 views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. So, I need to just let them do their thing, and they're doing great at it. So you have team members that probably would love to help out with some of this. And there are tools out there that can help manage it. If you want to do approvals, you can do that. But like Heidi said, just, the people who are on those platforms every day know what's fun, know what's interesting, and know what to put out there. If it was entirely up to me, I would be so boring online.
Me too.
But yeah, let them have it. I mean, and you could even get like photos, job photos. Okay, we're gonna put together. We do this at Roofer's Coffee Shop for the holidays. Tell us your favorite holiday tradition, and we
Yeah.
send a quick video out there, and our social media team puts it together and shares some stories and reels, and people really like that stuff. So you could have your crews say, send in your favorite job site view from this year, were you on a roof and you had a great view, and these kinds of fun things to engage your whole team. And then you can give away a prize, draw a winner, and make it really interactive and fun.
Everything. And John, I know you are constantly promoting brand ambassadors, people who are out there in the roofing companies, because highlighting your own people in a roofing company, I think that's what people want to see. They want that relationship. So what are you seeing out there on that?
Yeah, I mean, especially this time of year,
Mm.
highlighting your seasonal parties, your what's going on within your company, sharing some events that your employees and your team members are a part of. That's what people are interested in, and that I love to see that, because I want to know more about the company than a picture, taking me to the website. I want to know more of what really makes that company click. And a lot of times when I talk to people, I'm like, highlight your people. If they're, do that. If you got an employee that's, say, their son or daughter is in high school and they made a team or they won an award, well, highlight that. Highlight how the company's behind sponsoring, or just behind the family values of having your employees be involved. People like to see those things. And I think it's real important. And also, like you talked about earlier, don't be afraid to share someone else's great thing and say, hey, this is fantastic what this company's doing. Take a look.
Yeah.
Because that's important. That's how you become become a thought leader and an expert, by passing on somebody else's great ideas. You're not stealing it. You're saying, hey, take a look
Mhm.
at this.
Right. And be open to creativity, just like with John and Karen said, whether that's videos, the photos. I still have to do my holiday video. I'm going to do that next. And, be open to these kind of things, because it is a relationship business. Your customers want to know that you have these values, your core values. Don't be afraid to show those. And I think a lot of that fear is starting to move away. It was a lot worse a couple years ago. We were like, whoa, nothing can go out. It's going to hurt us.
Right.
Where now it's so much more organic.
I think it's important, Heidi, too, to be genuine with the
Yes.
photos. It's so easy to use stock photos with
Yeah.
posts because there's so many stock photo sites now. But if you're showing me a picture of a person, I want to know that if I come to your office or have an interaction with someone in my home, that that's the person that I'm going to see. You know, it's not some model in a
Right.
stock photo. So yeah,
Yeah.
being genuine is really important.
Really, really important. Okay. And so I'm sure a lot of people out there right now are thinking, okay, this all sounds great. You guys sound great, but no time. How do we do this? I don't get it. So we're going to go back to what we really talked about. Empower your employees. Trust me. I can remember I was working with one of our social media folks, and they it was a joke that they were working on their phone, and I was like, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm working. Are you working? Are you really working? But everybody, there's so many people out there who can do this right on their phone, and your employees probably are those. So um Karen, let's talk a little bit through this, because if
Mhm.
you are handing it over to your employees, there's some important things to be aware of.
Yeah. So I think the first step is deciding what platforms you want to be on. And you don't have to be on them all at once, right? If you're mostly marketing to residentials, then Facebook and Instagram, great place to start. We use a platform that's designed to manage social media. We use one at Roofer's Coffee Shop. I use a different one in my business. So there's multiple options out there. I can load up to 20 accounts in there and provide access to a team member who's going to be working on the content, scheduling the content, submitting it for approval if needed. And it has, you know, you can see things in a calendar view and you can know, okay, I'm posting on about these things on these days at these times, and it's scheduled ahead of time. So getting that ready, organizing it, managing it, it's nice when you use a platform designed for that, and they're not that much money. You know, a few $100s a year. Some have the option to pay monthly, so it's not a big hit all at once, and they're all accessible from a phone. So that's, you know, Heidi is looking at this young person on their phone going, what are you doing? Like, why are you
Yeah.
on your phone? Well, I'm working. It's true. You can do most of it from the phone. And these platforms also will allow you to be notified when someone comments or someone mentions. So it's one place. You're not going to have to go to 6 different platforms. I highly recommend it. Can you do it on, you know, if you're going to start with Facebook and Instagram and just doing it from your phone in the apps? Absolutely, you can. But, you know, you'll get to a point where you might need one of those management tools, or it can get overwhelming. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah. I I think that, I mean, that's exactly it. And John, you just said you just started a new platform that you set up. So it's something you can add as you go.
Yeah, I think the management software is the easiest to use because a lot of people think about it, well, that's not genuine. Well, sure it is because like example, if you're one person or you're starting out, or even if you put somebody in charge of it, it's a lot easier to plan out a week at a time and go ahead and take that time and set it up. And then if
Mhm.
you've got a post time sensitive post you want to get out, that's the ones you do live. So you get them done or whatever you need, but use the technology that's there to your benefit. It will help you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really
And
does. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention too, if you do start with Facebook, Instagram, they have their own, it's called Meta Business Center, and that's free. And you
Yeah.
can schedule out posts using that as well. So there are free options out there.
It'll help you calendar and help you get your content organized. The one thing that I do want to really mention is sometimes what you'll see is you'll have some people who maybe make a Facebook group in your organization, or maybe they even made a Facebook for you. You want to confirm ownership. So that ownership of that Facebook or LinkedIn or any social media platter needs to be in the name of the owner of the company. And you need to make sure you have the username and passwords in that with your email, because it's easy to kind of, that can slip. And then somebody, an employee leaves, you've lost ownership. You don't know how to get in there. We've had this happen.
Yeah. Good
So,
point.
um, tagging. So this is really figuring out the tagging. So Karen, you talked about it a little bit more. So maybe
Hmm.
you can kind of go through this a little bit on what they should be doing.
Yeah. If when you tag someone, they get notified that someone mentioned you, and they'll, you know, the reason that you tag people is to get them to interact. So if you are maybe providing some education on ventilation, and you got some information from your manufacturer. Well, once you share that information, tag that manufacturer, because then if they comment or they share, it just increases your audience. It increases the number of eyes on there. So, and tagging versus hashtagging are different. You know, hashtags are really just to find, people use hashtags to search. If I'm looking for information about the upcoming International Roofing Expo, I know their hashtag is hashtag Roofing Expo.
Right.
So I can type that into any social media platform and I can see what people are talking about related to this event coming up. So hashtags can help you see trends that are, oh, everybody's talking about the Super Bowl because it's in the same city as the IRE this year. And, so you can kind of join the conversation and understand what's going on and participate.
Mhm.
I think that, yeah, it's important to do that, but just do it appropriately. Don't put a post out there and tag 25 different companies if it's not relevant to
Mhm.
them, just because you're trying to get views or likes or impressions. That, do it in moderation.
Or people. Don't tag 100 people on LinkedIn, please. John, take it from there.
Yeah, well, I just have to go, but tagging is my pet peeve. I am 100% just what you said, tag people in. I never mind if I get tagged into somebody's post because it's a roof detail, nice roofing project, whatever it may be, and you really want me to interact or at least make me know, I'm good with that. What I don't like is just having to be tagged in exactly what you said, and there's more and more of that going on. And keep in
Mhm.
mind, when you do that, you're really starting to isolate yourself from the people. Do not, just for the sake of hijacking someone's network, tagging them in. I find that bothers me a lot. I got enough going on not to get 50 tags for something that I don't care about.
Yeah. And that's knowing your audience too. Really be aware of the
Yep.
audience. If you're on LinkedIn, you need to understand your audience. If you're in Facebook, and I do have a question though. I do see some very creative tags, and Karen, maybe you can talk about this, but where it's just hashtag wanna be there or whatever. I don't even know if people have researched what that tag means, but they will just put things to kind of emphasize the post. I don't know. I'm going to put that out there. I don't know if that's good or bad.
You know, I don't feel one way or the other about it. I know some people are trying to be cute, and
Yeah.
put a little phrase there. Are people really searching for that or using that to find things? Probably not. It's a waste of digital space, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But you know,
I love it. I have to say, John and Karen, I learn every time we have these conversations. So I think this is great. I am going to say, if anyone out there has questions about social media, you can get a hold of John through the Affinity program. You can get a hold of Karen and I may send you to Karen. You never know, in the Affinity program. But social media is just a critical part of your marketing plan, and so we're here to help you and to help you drive that. Karen and John, before we go on to our final, I just want to say thank you. And it was great.
Yeah.
thanks, Heidi.
Thanks for being here.
So let's just real quick, as we always like to do, go over our affinity program between Roofers Coffee Shop and all the coffee shops and Cottney Consulting. So John, if you want to start with what Cottney can give to our club subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, you get a solid 15% off of anything you do with me, whether it's training, whether it's business consulting, risk management, whatever it is. And also, I don't get enough people to take advantage of this because I think they're always afraid there's a sale behind it. If you know me, and you should know me by now, if you're a member of the Art Club, get your free financial risk, get your free operational risk analysis, and your software. I sit on the RT3 board as well, that Karen mentioned. So I'm not here to sell you anything. This is just to give you information that will help you make better decisions. And then, we do the quarterly webinars. And again, as far as our club goes, I can't stress enough how important it is to be a member of our club, not just because of the perks you're going to get from me, but I've always said it is the, greatest peer group out there. Well, now there are peer forums that we've got going on with that. And also too, I know it's not on here, but it's coming out next year. You're at our club, Lunch and Learns, you got the safety. We're going to be doing safety training.
Yes.
So there's so many great things out there. So get involved.
And we thank you, John, because Karen and I just did our first marketing peer forum. It was so
Great.
fun.
Mhm.
It was
It is
so
fun.
good. And we've only heard amazing things about your operations, peer forum. And then we're looking into also adding, along with your safety, we're going to be adding some HR and culture peer
Perfect.
forums next year. So really great stuff. So for all of the Cottney Consulting clients out there, we would love you to be part of the R Club. We want you to kind of join this network. It's great. We do these kind of things all the time. So if you're interested, you will get a 15% discount. Just let us know you're a Cottney Consulting customer. That includes a full directory. You get to be on Ask a Roofer and answering questions. 30-minute marketing consultation with Karen and I, plus free copies of our 3 marketing books. Discounts on classified ads, networking, peer forum, coffee breaks. It is just so great. And of course, as always, be sure to check in with Alex Toll, who is our R Club coordinator. She makes everything happen and is absolutely awesome. You'll love just getting to know her by being in the R Club. And if you need additional information, here is our contact. And I want to say again, thank you so much. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. I hope you're enjoying this live and on demand. We will be seeing all of you next time. Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later.